The trade deadline is July 31st. The Tigers could use a high leverage reliever, or maybe even two, a right-hand hitting third baseman, and a starting pitcher. From my view, getting an elite swing and miss reliever needs to be the number one priority. But then there's also this third baseman in Arizona who could provide a big boost to the offense. Jim Duquette, what do you think the Tigers should do at the trade deadline?
So that's the obvious need, their third base, right-handed power. Like Suarez improves the Tigers so well. Going back to your previous conversation, the problem is Suarez improves like four other teams really well. And so, are you willing to give up your top prospects? What are you willing to give up for a guy like Suarez, who's a rental? I did that back in the past, and it's not fun at the end because you have to give up not that they would do this, but that Max Clark's going to get asked about. That McGonagall's going to get asked about. You're not going to do that in that type of deal, but that's the level of player that you would have to give up for Suarez, at least to get him now. Now, as you get close, and that's even if Arizona is making him available, which, as I just mentioned, they're on the bubble. They may be buying. So I think that I would try to address that first. If it's not him, see if you could get Arenado to waive his no trade. That's going to be difficult also. There's another third baseman, but he's a left-handed hitting third baseman, and Ryan McMahon. You have to see if he's available. So let's just play this out for a sec. Let's say Arizona says, nope, I'm not making him available because we're in it. And Arenado says, nope, I'm not going anywhere. I'm still staying in St. Louis. Do you go down the McMahon route? Or do you keep what you've got and go with McKinstry, who plays well at third, and sometimes go Keith at third, and go that route and go get some two premium relievers like you suggested, which I think is a really good possibility. Somebody like Iglesias with the Braves, maybe Estevez with Kansas City, or Clase, with the Cleveland. It's that level. If they got one or two of those type guys, boy, that would be a huge impact, I think, in the postseason. So, they have a couple different ways that they could go in this if they can't get that third baseman that it looks like they need.
If the Diamondbacks do sell, where does Eugenio Suarez, a former Tiger, by the way, where does he end up at the trade deadline? Because I could see Tigers, Yankees, Cubs, Brewers as potential fits for him, and I'm sure there's more teams as well. But of those four teams, right, Tigers, Yankees, Cubs, Brewers, who is equipped to be the most aggressive to go out and land Eugenio Suarez? Whereas, like you mentioned, it might take a Max Clark to get a deal like that done. It might get to that point, and maybe the Tigers don't want to do that. I guess just of the teams that could be in the mix, where do you see Suarez ending up?
So I think the biggest competition for Suarez, if he is available, would be with the Cubs. They're all in, right? So looking at this, so one of the things that I looked at when I had teams when I was selling, when I was in the front office selling, I went and I looked, okay, who can we kind of take advantage of the extra internal pressure that there is to win? Who's the most desperate? The Cubs are really, because of their front office, he's on the last year's deal. There is a lot of pressure internally, and they're really good, and they're going to get to the postseason, and I think they're going to win the division. But they also, I think, need to go on a deep run. And so you target, if I'm, looking at any, let's say any team, if I'm Mike Hazen, who's really smart, by the way, all these GMs are smart, I'm going right to the Cubs and go, hey, you have upper level talent, upper level prospects that fit for me. Let's do a deal. And then you're going into Detroit, and you're using what you can get from them against them to see if you can take a Clark back, or McGonagall back, or, that kind of. And then, he's going to Toronto, and he's going to the Yankees, and he's going to the Mets. There's 5 teams that could use Suarez, and he would be a difference maker for them all. And that's where I think the problem will come in for Detroit. How desperate are they really? We all see it, they need it, but their jobs aren't on the line either, and I think that sometimes plays into the trade deadline.
Yeah, Chicago Cubs president of baseball operations, Jed Hoyer, in the final year of his contract. Kyle Tucker, their superstar, he becomes a free agent after this season. There is no time like now for the Chicago Cubs to win, so that makes perfect sense.